Si Val! Si Val! Si Val! Palagi na lang siyang may kasalanan. Si Val na walang malay.
Oo, ate! Puro ako oo, ate! Daig ko pa ang isang manyikang disusi!
Hinahabol kita, sumisigaw ako. Pinapatigil na kita pero ayaw mong tumigil, tuloy-tuloy ka pa rin.
Umiyak ka! You get rid of that communist wason, I'll get rid of your mistress.
Mahirap sa'yo, Delphine. Maaga kang ipinanganak.
Ang hirap sa'yo, Georgia. Huli ka nang ipinanganak.
The 1986 People Power Revolution seated the first female president of the Philippines, Corazon C. Aquino, known simply as Cory to the Filipino people. The advent of the Aquino administration marked the restoration of democracy in the Philippines. The Aquino government sought to put strong emphasis on civil liberties, human rights, and social justice.
Ating kalayaan kay tagal na nating bitin.
Nagpapasalamat ako sa inyo at sa milyon-milyong nating kababayan.
Magkakapit-pisig, libo-libong tao.
As president of all my people, I will not betray the cause of peace by which I came to power. As I came to power peacefully, so shall I keep it. That is my contract with my people and my commitment to God.
21 years of rule by deposed President Ferdinand E. Marcos found the Filipinos hungry for freedom. This hunger for freedom expressed itself in the media through newspapers, songs, television, and film. Action movies constituted a large part of the films made during Cory Aquino's time. The usual themes of these action films were military abuses, police corruption, rebel movements like the NPA, and government corruption. The lead character, who is always a male, often rebels against these corrupt systems. It shows the protagonist determined to stop the oppression that was tolerated for so long. In his actions resonated the slogan, "Tama na, sobra na, palitan na," which became popular in protest rallies against Marcos headed by Cory Aquino. Common themes were about people taking justice into their own hands because of the country's poor justice system. There were action movies that presented a Robin Hood type of hero, a criminal who committed crimes that benefited the greater good. Action films depicted violence, a lot of guns, and a lot more blood. Fernando Poe Jr. or FPJ was still the king of action films during this period.
Ako ba hanap niyo?
Akala mo siguro patay na ako, ano?
Alam kong buhay ka dahil ang bagay na nakita ko na agnes simenteryo, hindi maitim ang buto.
Kung hindi kayo makapaghintay, kayo mag-ayo!
Kung hindi ako ayusin ko.
Other famous action stars were Philip Salvador and Rudy Fernandez. Ramon Revilla Jr., better known as Bong Revilla, was beginning to make a name for himself as an action star. But it was Robin Padilla whose popularity was fastly gaining momentum through his films Anak ni Baby Ama, Bad Boy, Barumbado, and many more. Action films had emerged as a status symbol in the film industry, where nearly all actors desired to land a lead role in an action film. In the same manner, actresses sought to be the leading ladies in action films, and so did child stars. Several reasons could explain the proliferation of action movies during the Aquino administration. It could have been an expression of anger against the previous administration's oppression of the Filipino people, which was expressed in films where the hero kills the oppressor. It could be a cry for justice long deprived of the Filipinos. Or it could be some kind of male revolt against a female president. The Philippine society has always been a patriarchal one, and the male ego was hurt when it was a female who saved it from tyranny and oppression. And yet, even with all the guns, goons, gore and machismo, Philippine action movies still reflected the Catholic upbringing of the Filipinos, as seen in the movie titles. And most of all, these films have shown that in the end, good always prevails over evil. If actors dominated the action scene, actresses shone in portraying key characters in drama movies. The brilliance of the most admired thespians were validated and encapsulated by the titles given to them. Nora Honor was the superstar.
Manhid kang talaga! Punta ka ba rito para sumbatan ako? Tingnan mo ako. Tumingin kang mabuti sa mukhang ito, sa mga mata ko. Basahin mo. Basahin mong mabuti kung anong nasa sa loob ko!
Sharon Cuneta was the megastar.
Kailanman ay hindi akong nangagaw sa'yo! Ikaw ang nangagaw sa akin! Inagaw mong asawa ko!
Vilma Santos was the star for all seasons.
Kung mamamatay rin lang ako, mamatay na ako ngayon. O bukas o sa linggo. Pero di ko kaya 8 buwan.
And Maricel Soriano was the Diamond Star.
Mamahalin niya ako para sa inyo lahat na hindi nagmahal sa akin!
Lots of drama movies dealt with oppression, including gender supremacy and the juxtaposition of rich and poor. Most titles had religious undertones, mirroring a traditional Catholic society that hinges on faith in times of misery and difficulty. With natural calamities and tragedies plaguing the nation, some films centered on the struggle to escape a drastic and unwanted situation. Most drama films presented a main character who is a victim of circumstances who managed to rise victorious from trials through honesty and hard work. Ordeals were connected with problems about love.
Alam mo, nakakainis ko, tanggapin ha. Nakakainis tanggapin eh. Pero sabi ko talaga, taas ang kamay ko sa'yo. Nagkakagusto na nga ako sa'yo eh. Mahala kita palagay ko eh. Maging sino ka man.
Coping with unemployment and experiencing injustice under a corrupt authority.
Bakit ako patok? Sumula ako!
Pressing social issues during Cory Aquino's administration were tackled in movies.
Sige, ganito. Sabihin mo yung mga nangyayari dito sa bansa. Katulad ng graft ng corruption, basura, krimen. Katulad ng mga nangyayari ngayon.
One of which is the problem with electric power generation that was never solved under Cory Aquino's administration. The government's inefficiency to safeguard the media was also a concern. Despite these socially relevant topics and disputes finding their way into movie scenes, there were anti-administration films that were prohibited from gracing the silver screens in the country. Ora Pro Nobis, or Fight for Us, confronted the unceasing existence of death squads in the Philippines, even after the regime of former President Ferdinand Marcos. The movie was initially banned by then-President Cory Aquino, but eventually was allowed to be shown in the Philippines after it premiered in the Cannes Film Festival. The first female president of Asia was not the only subject of critiques. Because of regained democracy, numerous filmmakers were free to attack Marcos' dictatorship without the consequence of being punished or censored. However, according to film critic Noel de Vera, there was a downside to this new liberty. Subtlety and the use of symbolisms died, leading to the desiccation of artists' creative juices. Though there were fewer limitations than the previous government, the film industry was expurgated with strict moralist Manuel Manoling Morato as the chairman of the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board, or MTRCB. According to Bongo Dines of the Philippine Entertainment Portal, Morato's chief interest was to preserve morality, a stance that wasn't accepted well by filmmakers. With the threat of coups d'etats against the government, every aspect of the society must be carefully overseen. As fantasy comedy tickled the audience's imagination, other films in the comedy genre made fun of the military and the police. Comedy films also banked on the popularity of the 1986 EDSA revolution or people power, and ridiculed questionable loyalties during the Aquino administration. As the Filipino audience had for a long time been used to, comedy was mostly still slapstick. Roderick Paulate and Rene Requiestas top-billed a lot of comedy films during the Aquino era. Paulate portrayed gay roles in all of his comedy movies at that time. During this period, it was possible for a gay character to have a lead role only in a comedy film, showing that although gays were beginning to be accepted by Philippine society, it would still take a while before they could really be taken seriously. Requiestas initially gained popularity as Chitae from the Joey De Leon starrer Tarzan, where he played a supporting role, and then eventually shared the spotlight with De Leon in Tarzan 2. From that time onwards, Requiestas starred in quite a number of comedy films, where he was often paired with beautiful leading ladies, including one opposite the president's daughter, Chris Aquino. This depicted that even ordinary people have big dreams. Both Paulate and Requiestas were among comedy actors who banked on what was considered as funny-looking or grotesque to the Filipino audience. Among the lead actresses of that time, it was Maricel Soriano who was able to star in both drama and comedy films. She usually portrayed a poor character in her comedy starrers, endearing her to the masses whom she represented in these films. Her tomboyish and sometimes gay-like demeanor, including her unpretentious disposition, made moviegoers fond of her.
Kasi ikaw hindi ka pa nahihinlove Kabisado ko na yata ang hamoy ni Hedsel.
Other comedy films were inspired by Hollywood hits. It was also a time of intense rivalry between two child stars, Matet De Leon and Aiza Sigera. Matet is the adopted daughter of prime actress Nora Honor. Aiza Sigera was a runner-up in a then-popular contest, Little Miss Philippines, in the noontime show Eat Bulaga. Although Sigera was not as pretty as De Leon in showbiz standards, she gained popularity because of her wit and frankness. Both child stars embodied hope and optimism in their films. Regal Films produced a large number of these comedy movies. Most of these films featured talents from the 80s popular youth-oriented show, That's Entertainment, produced by Herman Moreno. Youth Revolt was a popular theme during this period. This was inspired by the EDSA revolution in which the youth was involved. Philippine cinema in the time of President Corazon Aquino. Can we say that films are a reflection of society? It has been said that a movie is not only a visual treat to its audience, but it is also an account of the societal, economic, and political setup in which a person is living. It reflects the internal feelings and expressions of the public at large, and compels the society to visualize its face in this mirror called cinema.